Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing through the presentation of colors, playing of the national anthem, and the invocation. Now, Vice Commandant arriving. Now, Admiral, United States Coast Guard arriving. Now, Coast Guard arriving. Now, Homeland Security arriving. Now, President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden arriving. And salute. Ready, two. Color Guard, present the colors. Hand salute. Color Guard, retire the colors. Ready, two. Now Chaplain Walcott will deliver the invocation.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Let us pray. Eternal Father, we mark today a special occasion in the history of the Coast Guard as we honor Admiral Schultz and thank him for a job exceedingly well done, as well as welcome Admiral Fagan to her new roles and responsibilities. We give you thanks today for Admiral Schultz. His broad shoulders have carried a tremendous load over the past 4 years as he guided our Coast Guard through very difficult times. We are grateful for his steady hand, his astuteness, and most of all, his genuine concern for the members of the Coast Guard and their families. Thank you for giving him the wisdom and strength for such a time as this. We ask for wisdom for Admiral Fagan. Her career of distinguished service speaks for itself, and we know that she is more than ready for the call. Direct her as she leads our Coast Guard into the next chapter of its illustrious history. Our service, our nation, and our world face new challenges and new opportunities. Guide her as she guides us. Neither Admiral Schultz nor Admiral Fagan arrived at this moment on their own. We thank you for the families that raised them, the education and experiences that formed them, the mentors that taught them, and especially the loved ones that stood and continue to stand beside them. We pray today for our leaders, President Biden, Vice President Harris, Secretary Mayorkas. We thank you that they are people of integrity and character striving to do what is right. We pray for all elected and appointed officials. May they all seek to serve selflessly and with honor. A few moments ago, we heard a song that reminded us of the promise of America the Beautiful. May we work together to make it so. For all those standing the watch around the world in the Coast Guard today, our active duty, reserve, civilian, and auxiliary team, and especially the families that support them, we ask for your care and your protection. This we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain Walcott. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Military members may now uncover. It is now my distinct honor to introduce the presiding official for today's change of command ceremony, the Honorable Alejandro N. Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security and the Service Secretary for the United States Coast Guard.
Thank you, Rear Admiral Platt. President Biden speaks so movingly of our United States as a country of possibilities, one where our individual and collective talents, drive, and spirit can achieve anything. All across our great nation and around the world, members of the United States Coast Guard prove that to be true every single day. Through selfless service to mission and with a spirit of innovation, Coasties everywhere are achieving extraordinary things, from daring rescues to protecting sovereign waters and so much more. Our country of possibilities is defined by our people. The members of the Coast Guard who have served and are serving bring honor to our nation every day. Those who are embarking upon our service hold boundless promise for the future. May 18th illustrated that so powerfully as cadets at the Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut graduated and became new officers. As each approached the stage to receive their diploma and commission, I witnessed as each radiated with the courage of military service, the excitement of new postings, and the healthy nervousness of new beginnings. As each one of them walked across the stage, a walk of 40 or so feet that represented 4 years of hard work and tenacity, they were greeted, one by one, with words of encouragement, strength, and pride. Each of them was greeted personally by their commandant, Admiral Karl Schultz. Great leadership also defines the United States as a country of possibilities, and that is what we are here to celebrate today. The great leadership of Admiral Schultz, the 26th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard. Admiral Schultz has served our country with distinction for 39 years. Through numerous flag and operational assignments spanning coast to coast, he has devoted his career to the Coast Guard and made life better for its members and their families. As Commandant, Admiral Schultz has led the Coast Guard through a unique and unprecedented period. In early 2019, the federal government was shut down and active duty Coast Guard members were not paid. Through the shutdown, the Coast Guard continued to not only operate and fulfill its mission, but it shined. Members speak of that difficult time with admiration for and adoration of their Commandant, who stood by them and provided them with the support they needed. Throughout the global pandemic, the Coast Guard did not have the option of working from home. At the outset of the pandemic, Admiral Schultz led coasties as they brought cruise ship passengers and crew to safety. From that time forward, he has helped keep the marine transportation system going, which facilitates more than a quarter of our country's gross domestic product and maintains 31 million jobs in American ports, harbors, and waterways. Through the most intense and active Atlantic hurricane season on record, historic levels of migration, the urgent need to distribute COVID-19 vaccines, and the Afghan resettlement effort of Operation Allies Welcome, the Coast Guard has been there, always ready and always delivering. It has been so because of the Coast Guard's enormous talent and agility, its proud tradition of service whenever and wherever needed, and the incredible leadership of Admiral Schultz. While meeting these immense challenges, the Commandant has spearheaded a more than 20% increase in the Coast Guard's budget and ignited the largest shipbuilding effort since World War II. Most of all, Admiral Schultz has focused steadfastly on the well-being of every member of the Coast Guard and the advancement of its core values as an American institution. Championing diversity, equity, and inclusion, overhauling the service's civil rights policy, expanding mentorship and support programs. He has been there for the coasties and the country they proudly serve. He has led the Coast Guard to new heights during an extraordinary tenure. The service of the new officers commissioned on May 18th and the service of thousands of others whom he has recruited, mentored, inspired, and led will be a tribute to his contributions and will build on his legacy. So too will the leadership of the Coast Guard's 27th Commandant, Admiral Linda Fagan. Admiral Fagan was a member of the 6th class of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy that accepted women. She began her career as the only woman of the crew of the venerable icebreaker Polar Star from 1985 to 1987. She has served on all 7 continents and is the longest-serving active duty officer in the marine safety field, which earned her the Coast Guard's first ever Golden Ancient Trident. She will be the first woman to serve as Commandant and the first female service chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. Admiral Fagan is a trailblazer. For more than 230 years, women have had an essential role in the United States Coast Guard and its predecessor services. Coast Guard women have helped shape the service and pioneered the role of women in the federal government and the nation. Now the Coast Guard has its first woman commandant. Today is an historic day for the United States Coast Guard, an historic day for the United States. This is a day when the change, the charge, and privilege of leadership passes from one adored and revered admiral to another. It is a great day for the Schultz and Fagan families, too. We do not serve alone. Our loved ones serve with us. Don Schultz and John Fagan, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. The future is bright and a reflection of the leaders here. Ensign Eric Schultz heard the personal words of encouragement, strength, and pride from his father as he walked across the stage of the Coast Guard Academy last year. Lieutenant Eileen Fagan follows in her mother's footsteps. Thank you, Admiral Schultz, for your extraordinary career of service to the Coast Guard and our nation. Admiral Fagan, we turn to you with great promise. Semper Paratus. America is indeed a country of possibilities. No one champions this fact more than our Commander-in-Chief, a leader who has dedicated his life to extending the reach of possibility to every American. On this historic occasion, I am honored to welcome the 46th President of the United States, our President, Joe Biden.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for giving my speech. And I'm going to sit down. Probably wish I would. It's kind of a little warm in here. Today, we witness a tradition long-standing in the United States Coast Guard. Change of command as the new admiral assumes leadership of our nation's oldest continuous seagoing service. And it's both a connection to our earliest days as a nation and a new milestone in our history. We use those phrases lately, but this is a big deal. Admiral Linda Fagan, Coast Guard Academy, class of 1985. Class of 85, stand up if you're out there. Oh! As they say in Southern Delaware, you all knew it then, didn't you? Well, you've crewed the Polar Star and Heavy Icebreaker, you've captained the Port of New York, you've served on all 7 continents, and you've commanded the Coast Guard operations in the Pacific. You've served as Vice Commandant of the Coast Guard. Throughout her decades of service, she's demonstrated an exceptional skill, integrity, and commitment to our country. She upholds the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard. This moment of acceleration of global challenges and hybrid threats don't stop at any border. There's no one more qualified to lead the proud women and men of the Coast Guard, and she will also be the first woman to serve as Commandant of the Coast Guard, the first woman to lead any branch of the United States Armed Forces, and it's about time. Secretary of Defense, when he sent me the name, I said, what in the hell took you so long? Really, congratulations. Look, with her trailblazing career, Admiral Fagan shows that young people entering the service, that we mean when we say there are no doors closed to women. And I might add, that includes her daughter, Coast Guard Lieutenant Eileen Fagan. Now I've thoroughly embarrassed you, haven't I? You look like my son used to look. Is that Vice President Biden and his son, Major Biden. And you go, oh, Dad, thank you. Thank you. It's not meant to embarrass, it's meant to compliment. Every little kid growing up today who dreams of serving their country will know that this is what an admiral and a service chief of the United States Armed Forces looks like. I mean it sincerely, it matters. I concluded when I ran, by the way, that I make sure that my government, my administration, and the service looked like America. I want to thank you, Admiral Fagan, for taking the helm during this critical moment, and for all that you've done throughout your career to open the doors of opportunities a little bit wider to allowing those following behind you a way through. I want to acknowledge your family. We're here to support you, and you've supported you every day, just as they have throughout your career. John, where are you? I'm going to embarrass you. John, stand up, will you? Come on. John, we don't know one another, but we have something in common. We both married way above our station. And Maura and Eileen and your parents, John and Luann, where's Mom and Dad? I watched Dad watching that young woman in the honor guard come around with that rifle. You did it. You moved quickly, Dad. All kidding aside, thank you for the values you instilled. It matters. It matters a great deal to both of you. And from the time that she was a swab, it just is amazing. I want to thank you for sharing Admiral Fagan with us, and Admiral Schultz, thank you for leading our Coast Guard as Commandant over the last 4 years. Stellar capstone in 4 decades of outstanding service to the nation. I got the advantage of doing, for I think the 3rd time in my career, the Academy commencement, and you're second to last one. And he also has a young man, good-looking boy, man, who was also commissioned at the time. So I don't think we've seen the last of this. To Dawn and all the children, Lindsay, Kelsey, is it Annalise? I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And is that right? And Zachary, and Ensign Schultz. Where's Ensign Schultz? Is he here? He's underway. For those of you who are not in the military, underway doesn't mean they're late on the way here. Say underway in my family, I think, where the hell are they? But look, it's not just those who wear the uniform who serve. And I've said this many times, it's the whole family. As an English poet said, they also serve who only stand and wait. They also serve who only stand and wait. Many times, your son, your daughter was on patrol somewhere, and you wondered, or your wife, or your mom. You stand there and you wait. For the year my son was in Iraq, for the year before that, when he was 6 months, he was in the Balkans. My wife would stand there at the coffee, at the sink, drinking that coffee, just saying a prayer every day. So to all of you, we owe you. We owe you big. Thank you for all that you've done for the country over the years. We've asked a lot of you, and you've risen to every challenge. I also want to thank the women and men of the Coast Guard who are standing watch today and every day here at home and around the globe, including my military aide who is here today, Lieutenant Commander Jane McCarran. Where is she? I'm going to embarrass the devil out of her, but I asked, she's hiding somewhere. So I met her at the Academy and asked her to come with us. Our nation is grateful to all of you for your years of service and your continued service. And as we look to the years and the decades ahead, the Coast Guard is only going to play an increasingly prominent role in our homeland and our national security. The challenges we face continue to evolve, And the choices we make today are literally going to shape the direction of the world throughout the 21st century. What we do the next 10 years is going to lay it down. We'll be calling on the Coast Guard more and more frequently, as you know, to underwrite the international maritime security, to keep the sea lanes open and secure, to uphold a rules-based international order, to protect the waters, as was mentioned, through which nearly 1/4 of the United States GDP is transported, to manage the impact of climate change, becoming more extreme weather and growing migration flows. In addition, you see what's happening in the Arctic. Arctic's going to change drastically and become a place that is going to also potentially generate potential conflict in terms of dominating the Arctic as it melts. The Coast Guard is a central element to the administration's new Indo-Pacific strategy, building partnerships with nations throughout the region to take on illegally and unreported and unregulated fishing, reported shared threats that conduct and coordinate human environmental missions. I met yesterday with the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Part of what we're initiating now is there's another country that's literally eating up all of the fishing grounds, literally overfishing everything. We've decided that we have to be engaged, and we have to be engaged with our Coast Guard and our military, our Navy. And with the climate change accelerating, we're seeing more frequent and more intense storms carry devastating impacts across our nation and throughout the hemisphere. Admiral Schultz, you oversaw the Coast Guard's response to the most active hurricane season on record in 2020. 30 named storms, 12 of which impacted the Gulf and Atlantic coast, and the Coast Guard was there for every single one of them. And with today marking the official first day of the 2020 hurricane season, we're anticipating the 7th straight year above average hurricane activity in the Atlantic. We turn to the Coast Guard to help facilitate our national response to COVID-19, from helping with vaccinations to protecting ports and maritime supply chains. And we rely on the Coast Guard to interdict illicit drug shipments at sea before they can enter the United States and respond to the greatly increased migration flows from Americas. Folks, and Admiral Fagan, we know there's more work to be done to ensure the Coast Guard and all the branches of our armed forces reflect the full strength and diversity, including at the highest levels of our leadership. When Admiral Fagan commissioned in 1985, only 5 years after the first woman graduated from the Academy, she was one of just 16 commissioned female ensigns, only 8% of her graduating class. She's the only woman aboard Polar Star for the first set of orders. Currently, Corps cadets at the Academy, more than 1,000 cadets strong, 40% are women. 40% are women. Admiral Fagan is part of a generation of pioneering women in the force, and this ceremony is historic and a historic first in that effort. Promotion earned through a career of outstanding leadership and accomplishment. Now we need to keep working to make sure Admiral Fagan may be the first, but not the only person. We need to see more women at the highest levels of command in the Coast Guard and across every service in the armed forces. We need to ensure women have an opportunity to succeed and thrive throughout their professional careers, and that means providing support and resources so women can compete fairly and fully for promotions and make sure women are not penalized in their career for having children. It also means creating an environment where every member of the armed forces feels safe in the ranks, including from sexual assault and harassment, and where their contributions are respected. So thank you again, Admiral Schultz, for your dedicated service to our nation and your steady leadership through the years at the Coast Guard. It's been called into new missions and asked to serve in extremely difficult circumstances. And thank you, Admiral Fagan, for accepting this next mission and this great responsibility to lead the women and men of the Coast Guard, the finest Coast Guard in the world. The Coast Guard is Semper Paratus, always ready, always ready. I know that you're ready for all that's ahead of you, and I look forward to watching you execute your job. Again, thank you. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
Admiral Schultz. Admiral Schultz, would you please... Testing? Okay, sorry about that. Admiral Schultz, would you please join President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas on stage so they can formally recognize your accomplishments? Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Military members, attention to award. Citation to accompany the award of the Homeland Security Distinguished Service Medal to Admiral Karl L. Schultz, United States Coast Guard. Admiral Schultz is cited for extraordinary meritorious service to the government of the United States in a position of great responsibility as a 26th Commandant of the Coast Guard from June 2018 to June 2022. Operating amidst competing national priorities, Admiral Schultz expertly led the Coast Guard's monumental recapitalization of its legacy fleet of cutters and aircraft while aligning the service with Department of Homeland Security and Department of Defense strategic priorities. Through bold vision and resolve, he set clear direction for the service, championed efforts to foster a more diverse and inclusive workforce, and established an ambitious strategic plan ensuring the Coast Guard's 81,000 active duty, reserve, civilian, and auxiliary members were semper paratus, always ready to protect the homeland, enhance economic prosperity, and advance America's national interests. Exercising keen decisional agility and foresight, Admiral Schultz masterfully led the workforce through some of the most challenging times in our nation's history, including the COVID-19 global pandemic, a 35-day partial government shutdown, the busiest hurricane seasons on record, increased Coast Guard support to Southwest border operations and Operations Allies Welcome, response to mass migration events in Haiti, evolving cybersecurity threats, escalating tensions with Iran, and a national defense strategy focused on great power competition with China and Russia. He championed organizational changes to enhance oversight and improve efficiency while spearheading the on-schedule and on-budget delivery of national security and fast response cutter programs of record, the advancement of offshore patrol cutter and waterways commerce cutter programs, and awarded the multi-mission Polar Security Cutter contract. Admiral Schultz's unmatched ingenuity and visionary leadership resulted in the implementation of the Coast Guard's groundbreaking Arctic, cyber, and maritime commerce strategies addressing 21st century marine transportation security challenges and actions vital to the sustainment of more than 30 million American jobs and $5.4 trillion in annual U.S. maritime economic activity. His tireless efforts have positioned the service with a tremendous, capable blend of assets and enabling support resources necessary to protect and advance United States interests around the globe for decades to come. His extraordinary achievements culminate a truly distinguished 39-year career of selfless service to the men and women of the United States Coast Guard and the United States of America. Admiral Schultz's leadership, dedication, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the Department of Homeland Security. Given this first day of June 2022, signed the Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security. Please be seated. Thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Mayorkas. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present the 26th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Karl L. Schultz, who will now provide some remarks.
Thank you, Michael. Mr. President, Secretary Mayorkas, what an honor to have you both here today. Mr. President, I would be remiss because the great class of '85 that Admiral Fagan hails from is here and trained by the great class of '83. I think there's a few of them in the room too. '83? I would be watching for that crowd on the news tomorrow, sir. They may be drinking some beer at my house tonight. And I had a moment, Mr. President, where you're talking about Lieutenant Fagan in the front row and how uncomfortable it was, and with your son. My son's underway, but he's not even on his own ship. He wanted to get underway on some other. That's a joke. He is underway, and he's here with us in spirit. Mr. President, I want to thank you for your truly meaningful words regarding the breadth of duties, the scope of impact that our Coast Guardsmen have, both here in the homeland and increasingly so across the globe. Secretary Mayorkas, I want to thank you, sir, for being here for today's Change of Command ceremony, for your leadership. You lead a department of more than 250,000 people with complex responsibilities spread across 22 agencies, sir, and it affects the safety and the security of our American nation each and every day. And you have empowered me and given me a lot of running room to lead this team. And sir, and I want to appreciate the Department Award that recognizes the men and women of the United States Coast Guard, some here in this room and those standing the watch across the globe. Today marks a change in the top leadership of the service. I think it would be appropriate that I say just a few minutes to reflect on the world's best Coast Guard, a truly unique and versatile organization with broad statutory authorities and remarkably agile people. An organization with a 232-year storied history. We're a learning organization striving to be more diverse and representative of the great nation we serve. And I would say we're an organization that recognizes to remain the world's best, we must also be the world's most inclusive Coast Guard. In taking the baton 4 years ago from my predecessor, and recognizing no service chief's tenure is routine, and I think the fellow service chiefs here will all second those words. Little did I know that this was going to be anything but a conventional 4-year race with that baton in hand. But I'd say instead, in many regards, and you heard some allusion to it, it's sort of like an eco-challenge. Maybe one of those toughest races pitting international athletes against the clock, running hundreds of miles in remote areas. And we asked our Coast Guardsmen, your Coast Guardsmen, to work without pay during that fiscal 2019 lapse in pay for the federal government. We asked them to navigate a tumultuous 2020 as a wave of civil unrest unfolded across much of the country, as we struggled to define the type of America we aspired to be. And then in March of 2020, that same spring, we ushered in a once-in-a-century global pandemic that greatly changed and still impacts the way we live and work. Against this backdrop, your Coast Guard exercised decisional agility and demonstrated a toughness and a resiliency, as well as a renewed bias for action and a sense of purpose towards mission accomplishment. I am forever grateful for their commitment, and to you, President Biden, for your unwavering support of the men and women of the United States Coast Guard. Team, we couldn't be any prouder of you today. So I will now read my orders. From Commander, Personnel Services Command to Admiral Karl Schultz. Upon relief of command, attach a report to retirement for the future. Thank you.
No mic.
Ladies and gentlemen, how's that? Please remain standing. That's all I really had to say. Mr. President, please join Admiral Schultz at center stage. Admiral Fagan will now read her orders.
From Personnel Service Center to Admiral Linda Fagan. Upon relief as Vice Commandant, proceed and report as Commandant. Mr. President, I request permission to the Admiral. Sir, I offer you my release.
Thank you, Mr. President and Admiral Schultz. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my privilege to introduce the 27th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Linda Fagan.
Thank you, Mr. President, Secretary Mayorkas. What a pleasure to have both of you here with us on stage to celebrate this change of command. To the members of the great class of 1985, thanks for representing, and great to see all you out there. And I know we have many folks that had hoped to join us but are joining virtually, and so thanks to all that are out there in the virtual land. Secretary Mayorkas, thank you. Thank you for your support and for the President's confidence in nominating me to serve as the 27th Commandant. I'm honored to have been confirmed by the Senate, and I would like to thank the committee for the leadership and their staff that help ensure we're having an orderly transfer of command today. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, I look forward to serving as part of your leadership team as we confront the challenges ahead. And I'm committed to executing your priorities and our department's missions through a unity of effort approach with all of our partner agencies. Admiral Schultz, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your dedication as you guided the service through historic challenges. And we are truly a more ready, responsive, and relevant Coast Guard today as a result of your leadership. It has been a true honor to serve with you during your tenure, first as the Pacific Area Commander and most recently as Vice Commandant. Thank you for your 39 years of tireless service. I wish you and Dawn and the Schultz family all the very best as you transition into retirement, and look forward to celebrating you some more here at the end of the ceremony. To my family, John, Moira, Eileen, thank you. I know it's been a little bit of a crazy ride, but I appreciate all you've done to enable this. And a special thanks to Eileen. Thank you, Mr. President, for calling her out. She's my personal aide. I lean on her pretty heavily. She is changing her name to Fagan after this. It won't be Fagan anymore. So, and I'd also like to thank the family that I've acquired along the way. And, you know, I've had a couple of assignments where people have come into my life as friends, and by the time the assignment was over, they've become family. Many of them have traveled from California. Some are living here in DC, but thank you to the extended family for being here. My parents who've traveled from Seattle, my sister and nephew who helped make that happen, thank you. And so just a little bit, I talked a little yesterday, a little more. I want to thank my parents for their courage. Their courage to allow me to begin this Coast Guard journey 41 years ago when I arrived at the Coast Guard Academy. I was 16. I announced my intent to attend the Academy, full of righteousness as only a 16-year-old can be. And like all good parents, they said, oh, she'll outgrow it. And I did not, although I did think I could go to the Academy and drive small boats. That's not true either. But I thank them for their courage of letting me begin this journey. If it weren't for that, I'm not sure that I we'd be here. There are hundreds of you out there who I've served with over the years, far too many to call out, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your support, your commitment to the organization, your commitment to me and helping me grow and learn. There is one person, though, and we've talked about the pioneers. I do want to call out one individual specifically. He's not with us, he's passed. I only met this individual once, but his courage had an outsized impact on me as a person. This is our 15th Commandant, Admiral Owen Seiler. He was an aviator. I met him at a building dedication in Savannah. Owen Seiler was the one who had the courage to integrate the service academies and make that decision to integrate the Coast Guard Academy back in the summer of 1975. In 76, the first women arrived. They graduate in 80, and I arrive a year later to the Coast Guard Academy. If it was not for Owen Seiler's courage, I do not believe I would be standing here today, and so I want to thank him. I'm wearing his shoulder boards that he wore as the 15th Commandant just to acknowledge the long blue line. To the Coast Guard workforce, today is about you. I'm honored and humbled to serve as your Commandant. I've always been inspired by the Coast Guard professionals serving in all our missions around the world. Thank you for your dedication, your hard work, and your service. It's my greatest privilege to work on your behalf. I'm immensely grateful to the many pioneers who've paved the way. Pioneers like Admiral Seiler, Dorothy Stratton, Ida Lewis, Dorothy McShane, Elizabeth Friedman. I'm proud to be a part of this long history of service, dedication, and groundbreaking, and I'm committed to carrying these principles forward. For nearly 232 years, the Coast Guard has provided safety and security for the American people. Today, our Coast Guard workforce oversees waterways and vessels that power our nation's economy, responds to mariners in distress, enforces our laws, and watches over marine natural resources. Americans are proud of their Coast Guard and every person who serves in this organization, whether in uniform or as a civilian, active duty, reserve, or auxiliary. We should all be proud of our accomplishments every day to keep our nation safe and prosperous. It's never been a more exciting time to be part of the Coast Guard. The President talked about the pace of change in the changing world, advances in new technology, changes in the economy, an evolving geopolitical landscape means demand for Coast Guard missions have never been higher. Those same forces are also influencing the communities where our people live and work. The pace of change creates challenge, but it also creates opportunity. Today, we will advance the Coast Guard America needs for tomorrow. Tomorrow looks different, and so will we. We will be more adaptive and connected, generate sustained readiness, resilience, and capability in new ways to enhance our nation's maritime safety, security, and prosperity. To the workforce, each member of the Coast Guard workforce, you are the heartbeat of the service. Without you, we cannot execute missions, aircraft aren't maintained, cutters don't sail, small boats don't patrol. My highest priority as Commandant will be to transform our talent management system. We will deliver each of you tools, policy, training, and support to succeed across all missions. We will empower you with reliable, cutting-edge assets, cutters, boats, aircraft, as well as data systems and shore facilities that you need to remain the world's best Coast Guard. We will unite people, assets, system, and data in new ways to be a more agile force. As we stay grounded in our principles of operation, we will focus on mission excellence so you can continue to be brilliant at our core work. We will find the best ways to deploy our assets to meet global demand for the Coast Guard from the Arctic to Antarctica, throughout the world's oceans, the entire coastline and river systems of the United States. And we will be present where we provide the American people the greatest benefit. We will make the transformation we need to keep pace with the changing world, while being guided by our core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty, with pride in our long history and appreciation for the sense of belonging that we share in this service. This transformation is an investment in you. Without you, steel does not move, lives are not saved, and our national prosperity and security are at risk. Your work, the Coast Guard's work, is critical to our national security and prosperity. You have answered the call to serve. We will be the Coast Guard where you can perform your best and bring your best to the potential that is this nation. I look forward to the journey ahead. I'm eternally optimistic about the future of the service. You are the world's best Coast Guard. I am honored and humbled to serve alongside you as we look to the future. Thank you. Semper Paratus. Rear Admiral Platt, all standing orders remain in effect.
Thank you, Admiral Fagan. Thank you, Admiral Fagan. Mr. President, on behalf of Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Fagan, and Admiral Schultz, we thank you for helping us to honor this historic occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing, and military members, please don your covers. Now, President of the United States of America, Joseph R. Biden, departing. Hand salute. Ready, two. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now transition to Admiral Schultz's retirement ceremony. Military members may now uncover.
And I think his time in Key West started another love affair, and that is with Florida, especially South Florida. So as I walk through some of the subsequent assignments, you're going to see a clear trend. And so it was no surprise that after Key West, his next assignment was at the 7th Coast Guard District in Miami, where he was a SAR coordinator and a law enforcement duty officer. And that's a district that has one of the most active caseloads in the country, and he was able to bring his experience while he was there in the 7th District. I have pictures on my iPhone if you'd like to see it after. They stayed in Miami from 1999 to 1991, where Admiral Schultz commanded the cutter Farallon, continuing to do search and rescue, law enforcement, and ensuring the integrity of our maritime borders. And by my calculation, Farallon, sir, is where you become a permanent cutterman. It was also his first of 3 afloat commands. And after Farallon, he got a chance to have a bit of a break and do some deep thinking at the University of Connecticut, where he got a master's in public administration, and his reward was being assigned to our personnel seminal work to reform personnel customer service, improve the illicit assignment process, and championing expanded diversity. He also served as an assignment officer or a detailer. Now, being an assignment officer is really interesting because you find out that you have friends that you never knew you had. You have to manage an officer's desires with the needs of the service, and it's a hard job because it has consequential effect for those officers. I can tell you from many officers whom I've talked with that Karl Schultz always had their best interest at heart. He was a strong advocate for them to get assignments that were enriching, career enhancing, and met family needs. I know that he worked with other assignment officers to make sure that people had full opportunity. He often worked behind the scenes to advocate and create opportunities for officers, even if it meant taking a risk to go beyond the business rules. That is quintessential Karl Schultz. And many senior officers and flag officers owe their success to the opportunities he created. And it was in D.C. that Team Schultz started to expand when twins Lindsay and Kelsey were born. Kelsey is now an optometrist, and Lindsay is a science teacher. Admiral Schultz then went back afloat, surprisingly not to Florida, but to Charlevoix, Michigan, to command Acacia, another 180-foot buoy tender like Gentian. This was his second command afloat, and he was responsible for maintaining the constellation of aids to navigation that are critical to vital commerce in the Great Lakes that subsequently is transshipped to the heartland of America, goods and supplies that are really the foundation of American enterprise, American industry, and infrastructure. Now, here's a bit of trivia for you. Acacia was the 3rd ship that Admiral Schultz was assigned to that is now decommissioned. That's a measure of a long career when you outlast Coast Guard cutters, sir. Team Schultz expanded yet again when Annalise was born in Charlevoix. She's now an art therapist. Karl and Don's son Eric was also born in Charlevoix. He's now, as you heard, an officer on Dependable. And I know Eric couldn't be here, but Annalise, thanks for being here. Karl then came back to D.C. in '99 to first work at the State Department to coordinate counter-narcotics support and galvanize interagency consensus on desired national outcomes for the most difficult and complex emerging maritime cases. From there, he was hand-selected to be the Coast Guard liaison to the House of Representatives. He worked on shaping the Coast Guard's posture and congressional support for the recapitalization of the Coast Guard fleet. The foundation he laid, we now know as the National Security Cutter, Fast Response Cutter, and Offshore Patrol Cutter, as well as the systems that support these incredible assets. He was the House liaison during the attacks of 9/11. He oversaw all Coast Guard communications with the House of Representatives during that tragedy. He developed the legislation that founded the Department of Homeland Security, and he helped broaden the Coast Guard's domestic and international missions. Karl's leadership, vision, and hard work were crucial as we worked to reimagine national and homeland security in that new normal. He informed members of Congress and their staffs on the value of our Coast Guard and what it brings to the nation, and the importance of keeping the Coast Guard whole as a service as we moved into the Department of Homeland Security. Son Zachary was born during Admiral Schultz's time as the House liaison, and Zachary's now a rising senior at Virginia Tech. Go Hokies. Admiral Schultz then went on to command the cutter Venturous in St. Petersburg, where he again executed drug interdiction and maritime migrant missions. In one case, he was able to save 11 Cubans in the Florida Straits from a makeshift 1959 Buick car fashioned into a boat. I offer this because it seems sort of poetic, given his love of muscle cars. The Coast Guard then made him a Harvard man by sending him to a fellowship in Harvard for the National Security Program. After that, he cross-decked into the shore operations community and commanded Sector Miami, where he was the captain of the port and one of our most busiest sector commands. He worked closely with port and industry stakeholders to build better unity of effort, which stands today. He was then handpicked to again come back to D.C. to take over all of Coast Guard congressional affairs. In addition to the many things that he did to advance the administration's legislative and budget requests for the Coast Guard, he also coordinated communications and strategic messaging with the White House, Department of Homeland Security, and Congress on a myriad of high visibility issues, including 2010 Hurricane Haitian relief and the federal response to the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. He was then promoted to flag, and he took over as the Assistant Commandant for Governmental and Public Affairs, where he oversaw the entire portfolio of the Coast Guard's legislative and strategic messaging and engagement efforts, both internally and externally. And he continued to help shape the Coast Guard's recapitalization efforts and other major programs of record. He then assumed command of the 11th Coast Guard District, where he oversaw all Coast Guard operations off California into Mexico and Central America, expanding into the Eastern Pacific. Under his collaborative leadership, the California Coastal Regional Law Enforcement Network was established and became a national model for integrated operations and with regional coordinating mechanisms. And he also worked with partner agencies to increase interagency maritime interdictions fourfold in that region. He went back to Miami in 2014, where he was assigned as the Director of Operations, or the J3, for U.S. Southern Command. It was a unique assignment because it's the only combatant command with a Coast Guard J3. While there, he directed joint service military operations across the Caribbean Basin, Central and South America, and this included helping Caribbean and South American and Central American nations build capacity to defeat drug trafficking organizations and other threats that undermine the safety and security of the Western Hemisphere. He was promoted to Vice Admiral after Southcom, then took command of Atlantic Area, where he was multi-hatted as a director of DHS's Joint Task Force East and also Defense Forces East. There, he led the nation's maritime response to 3 Category 5 and 2 Category 3 storms that spanned 48 consecutive days, as well as threatened 45 million citizens and our nation's strategic petroleum hubs. Coast Guard efforts under his direction saved 11,000 lives and restored the functionality of the maritime transportation system. Coast Guard assistance was also the first on scene to support response and recovery efforts in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I noted at the outset how Admiral Schultz empowers people, keeps them motivated, and engenders trust. It is his hallmark. His time at Land Area certainly reflects that. He was the Land Area Commander when Hurricane Harvey hit Texas and dumped 60 inches of rain on those affected communities, completely inundating those areas. The rain did not want to let up. There really is no playbook for how to respond to an event like that. Admiral Schultz forward deployed to the region. He met with Coast Guard personnel and he told them simply, just go do good things and I have your back. And of course, after his time at Land Area, he has been our 26th Commandant, which is captured so eloquently by Secretary Mayorkas. I had the good fortune to often work with and for Admiral Schultz over the past many years, including as an operational commander. We who have worked with him have probably heard what I like to call Schultzisms over the years. My favorite is when he is giving advice and counsel, he would often say, "You're the operational commander, I don't want to get into your chili." Sir, we want you in the chili. You make it taste a whole lot better. There's no way that Admiral Schultz could have done all this without the support of his incredible family. Dawn, thank you for everything. Many may not know that Dawn is an accomplished critical care nurse and a hospital administrator. She holds an RN in nursing, a dual master's in nursing, and an MBA in healthcare administration, and she earned a doctorate in nursing. She persevered and earned her doctorate while moving multiple times with the Coast Guard and starting and raising a family. In fact, she completed her final doctoral dissertation in between the birth of their twin daughters and their third child. Dawn has always been modest. While studying for her doctorate, she would routinely be seen carrying her books to class or library at all hours, day or night, with a 101 Dalmatians-themed backpack borrowed from her daughters. Team Schultz is truly a family of service. Dawn, there is really no way that we can repay you or thank you for being on this journey with your husband, and words are simply inadequate. I know that many important occasions were missed, the separations during deployments were tough, and those of us who know Karl Schultz well know that once he is in, He is all in, and that often comes at a cost of spending time with you that you and he would have preferred. But please know that you have our enduring gratitude. You're awesome. Thank you. And Admiral Schultz, just some closing thoughts before we make your retirement official. I want you to know that you have enriched the lives of so many people. As Secretary Mayorkas described, you have led with integrity and courage, moral courage and compassion. You made us a better organization, and you inspired our Coast Guard workforce to great success. You have connected people and have motivated and encouraged them to achieve their full potential. What you accomplished for the Coast Guard in terms of mission excellence, global presence, improved readiness, and new capabilities is historic. But sir, your greatest legacy is how throughout your career you made a difference, a personal difference in the lives of our workforce and their families. The personal care, concern, interest, and optimism you radiated will endure. We wish you and Don well as you embark on your next journey to North Carolina. We wish you fair winds, calm seas, and a long sunset, sir. Thank you.
Admiral Schultz, please join Admiral Poulin on stage for some presentations. Admiral Poulin will now present Admiral Schultz with a citation from the Commander-in-Chief, President Joseph R. Biden. Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Dear Admiral Schultz, I offer my congratulations on your upcoming retirement from the United States Coast Guard. For more than 39 years, you have answered the call to serve and have ensured American freedoms remain steadfast and true. Your service in the United States Coast Guard is the embodiment of America's patriotism, undaunted and resolute. And your leadership as the 26th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard will leave a lasting legacy of courage and commitment to our nation. Thank you for your noble service and for your commitment to the Coast Guard's motto, Semper Paratus, always ready. You represent the best of who we are as a nation, and we can never fully repay you for the countless sacrifices you and your family made while serving. Your legacy of service has already inspired future generations, including your son, Eric, whom I was honored to commission last year. The First Lady and I wish you and your family all the best in the coming years. As you enter this next chapter of your life, we hope that you will continue to find opportunities to serve our great nation. Give our best to Dawn and all your children, Kelsey, Lindsay, Annalise, Eric, and Zachary. May God bless you, and may God protect our troops. Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Secretary Mayorkas, please join Admiral Schultz and Admiral Poulin on stage for some additional presentations, please. Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Admiral Karl L. Schultz, having been retired after honorable service in the United States Coast Guard, is awarded this testimonial as an acknowledgement of duty faithfully performed during a period of over 39 years. Done at Washington, D.C., this first day of June in the year of our Lord, 2022, signed, Alejandro N. Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security. Secretary Mayorkas will now make a special presentation to Mrs. Schultz. Mrs. Schultz, will you please join Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Poulin, and Admiral Schultz on stage? Secretary Mayorkas will now present Mrs. Schultz with the Department of Homeland Security Outstanding Public Service Medal. The Department of Homeland Security Outstanding Public Service Medal is presented to Mrs. Dawn Schultz in recognition of over 33 years of distinguished volunteer service in the United States Coast Guard as a military spouse of the Commandant, Admiral Karl Schultz. Her volunteer work reached beyond the Coast Guard and has benefited thousands of families and employees within the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Transportation. Mrs. Schultz's long-standing devotion culminated over the past 4 years as she voluntarily served as the United States Coast Guard Ombudsman at Large. Showing unwavering commitment to Coast Guard members and their families, she served as the Coast Guard's senior representative and service champion for the First Lady of the United States Joining Forces Interagency Policy Committee, which was established to highlight and advance cross-agency priorities related to service members, veterans, caregivers, and survivors. As a career health care provider and mother of 5, Mrs. Schultz channeled her passion for matters regarding military health care, education for military children, and issues related to professional license reciprocity for military spouses to achieve incredible results. She was instrumental in the Coast Guard's implementation of the 2018 legislation authorizing reimbursement for spouses' qualified relicensing costs following permanent change of station. As a direct result of her efforts, the Coast Guard processed more than 340 claims for over $100,000, providing much-needed relief for working family members. Despite the challenges posed by the global COVID-19 pandemic, Mrs. Schultz conducted more than 100 visits to Coast Guard units and met with thousands of service members, spouses, and families to listen and learn of the challenges they faced. She worked tirelessly and closely with Coast Guard headquarters and field commanders to resolve issues, provide feedback to local ombudsmen, and drive positive change for families. The immense impact she made on Coast Guard members and their families greatly contributed to the readiness of DHS and are in keeping with the great heritage of volunteer service to the nation. Given this first day of June 2022, signed Alejandro N. Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security. Secretary Mayorkas will now present Mrs. Schultz with a certificate of appreciation for her service as a military spouse during Admiral Schultz's career. Certificate of appreciation from the United States Coast Guard. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Dawn M. Schultz has earned grateful appreciation for her unselfish, faithful, and devoted service during her husband's Coast Guard career. Her unfailing support and understanding helped to make possible her husband's lasting contribution to the nation. Given this first day of June 2022, signed Alejandro N. Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security. Secretary Mayorkas will now recognize Admiral Schultz's children with certificates of appreciation. Would Kelsey, Lindsay, Annalise, and Zachary please join Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Poulin, and Admiral Schultz on stage. Unfortunately, Admiral Schultz's son, Eric, is underway, right? And is not here today due to his duties in the Coast Guard on Coast Guard Code of Dependable. But his sacrifices are equally recognized in his absence. United States Coast Guard certificates of appreciation awarded to Miss Kelsey Schultz, Miss Lindsay Schultz, Miss Annalise Schultz, and Mr. Zachary Schultz. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard, thank you for the support you provided to your father and for enduring many separations from him while he served our country. While your father's successful career has been challenging and rewarding, it required his selfless devotion to serve others. Over the years, although he would have preferred to be home with you and the rest of the family, he knew that his work for our country was also very important to your future. Your support and understanding has been essential to his success. The United States Coast Guard thanks you for your support. Given this first day of June, in the year of our Lord, 2022, signed Alejandro N. Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you, Secretary Mayorkas, Admiral Poulin, and Schultz family. Admiral Schultz, please remain center stage for some additional presentations. Now, to honor Admiral Schultz's distinguished service to the nation, the 7th Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard Reserve, retired, George Williamson, will present Admiral Schultz with the United States flag. This flag has flown over all Coast Guard units in which you have served, including the United States Capitol, in honor of your 39 years of faithful service to the United States Coast Guard and our nation. Admiral Schultz, this flag, which you have so proudly served, is the true emblem of our unity, power, and purpose as a nation. Please accept it, protect it, and be ever mindful that the young men and women you have trained, guided, and inspired during your outstanding career will follow in your footsteps and honor this flag with equal pride. Admiral Schultz will now present this flag to his wife in honor of her love and support throughout his career. Admiral Schultz, Master Chief Retired George Williamson, and the Deputy Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard, Charles Bushy, who served alongside you, will now present you with a token of appreciation for your service to the Coast Guard. According to some accounts of naval history and tradition, when a sailor retires and is departing the ship for the last time, it is considered bad luck for the sailor's shadow to touch the shore before he or his shoes do. Thus, the sailor's shipmates would construct a sturdy box handcrafted of the finest materials in which to display mementos of the sailor's accomplishment, thereby symbolically creating a shadow of the sailor. The box contains the sailor's shadow until he or she is safely ashore, at which time the shadow box can be given to the sailor in a presentation ceremony. Ideally, a shadow box serves not only as a reminder of achievements and accomplishment, but also as a summation of one's career. A shadow box should enable a stranger glancing at its contents to gain a substantial understanding of the owner's past service and achievements. Admiral Schultz, please accept this shadow box as a reflection of your outstanding career. Thank you, Master Chiefs. Captain Matthew Bliven, United States Coast Guard retired, will now present Admiral Schultz with a gift on behalf of the Coast Guard Academy class of 1983.
Good afternoon. I've been asked by the class of '83 to make a presentation to Karl in recognition of his long and honorable service. And this is a personal pleasure to me because our families, we've had a long personal relationship together, and Karl presided at my retirement from the Coast Guard when he was the 11th District Commander 9 years ago. So 43 years ago, 326 women and men arrived at the Academy to form the class of 1983. 4 years later, the Academy chose to graduate 172 of those classmates. Most of those who graduated served in the Coast Guard at least a few years, and some served longer. A few slow learners took upwards of 39 years to figure out their exit strategy. Regardless of who served, though, and who graduated and who served for how long, we were all shaped by our struggles and successes at the Academy, and the bonds formed as classmates many years ago remain strong today. So a quick back of the envelope calculation would tell us the class of '83 has contributed at least 2,000 years of uniformed service to the Coast Guard, for better or for worse. So Karl, your retirement today concludes your military service, but the class of '83 service as well. It's certainly fortunate we can end on such a high note. As our most esteemed classmate, we're very proud of you, not only because of your leadership example, but also the friendship and the genuine interest and concern you've shown to your fellow classmates over the years, marked by your contagious optimism and your trademark cornball sense of humor. So we're presenting you this gift. It's a colorful rendition of the class of '83 crest as displayed on our Academy rings, along with our class motto, Leaders for Change. You've embraced that motto and represented our class well, Karl, and we congratulate you on a job well done. Let me conclude with a special announcement. When you began your service as commandant, our class promised to raise $250,000 to help fund the Academy's new Maritime Center of Excellence. I'm pleased to announce today the class of '83 has attained its goal, and we've chosen to designate $83,083 in your name, Karl, as a principal donor, ensuring the legacy of your leadership is recognized when the Maritime Center opens this fall. Please expect our class's best wishes for smooth sailing in your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Bliven. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present Admiral Karl L. Schultz, United States Coast Guard, retired.
Well, good afternoon. You know that loud noise that went on about 20 minutes ago? That was the on switch for the air conditioner. So my staff would tell you that, I'm the blended COA guy. So now it's nice and cool in here and it's really hot where the food is. Start getting your phones out for some Uber. We're bringing food in here and I'm going to talk for about 2 hours. So saddle up. I'm a bit taken aback. I want to start by congratulating the 27th Commandant, Linda Fagan. What a great day for our Coast Guard. What a great day for our nation. How exciting for the Fagan family. We're just excited. Steve Poulin, 42 years we go back. I won't belabor that. I'm going to try to move quick. My wife whispered to me here. She goes, honey, it's hot in here. Don't be smart. Don't be brilliant. Just get finished. And when I listen to my wife, I usually do okay. But I had the privilege yesterday of putting a 4-star on Steve's shoulder boards with his lovely wife Sherry and brother Scott. And later that day, we did the Vice Commandant change from the 32nd, now 27th Commandant, to the 3rd Commandant. And Steve, I am just excited to watch you compliment Linda's leadership. Congratulations to you, my friend. I'm looking for a quick trip report to see what Linda did in her 23 hours off between jobs here, so maybe the family can help me out with that. 4 years ago I mentioned taking the helm here from Admiral Zumkov, and I was 6 years out of Washington, and you say to yourself, 6 years is a long time to be away from the mast, try to figure what's going on. We coined a few guiding principles, and I was trying to think of a way to talk about this unique instrument in national security called the United States Coast Guard. And we came up with this thing called the 3 R's, ready, relevant, responsive. Christine, you help me out here? And that was a good way to talk about the Coast Guard, but be careful. When you throw an idea on the table, everybody gloms onto it. Every single memo that came to me, every program, every gym had the 3 R's emblazoned on the wall, ready, relevant, responsive, in huge print. I would be shopping in the exchanges, the triple R breath mints. You name it, it had a branding. The menus had ready, relevant, responsive food options. I think it really was an interesting way to us to talk about the service, and I think it elevated who we are. And it was about being the most ready Coast Guard possible. And we needed to get after a narrative that talked about the Coast Guard needing more money to be ready. We talked about being relevant, more relevant to the Department of Homeland Security, as we had been about 16 years into that relationship. And really, while co-located, cohabitated, and doing well, there was an opportunity to further those ties. And it was really about being responsive. And I think we've seen that and heard about that, and I won't belabor that. You know, when you sort of get near the end here, I'm going to tell Linda, fear not, because this ready, relevant, responsive thing, I think may be finally behind us. I got a note from one of my chief of staffs. He was shopping in the Honolulu, Hawaii Exchange, and this thing went crazy. There was even wall placards. The ready, relevant, responsive wall placard has a few words for each. Admiral Karl Schultz. So John Prince reports to me, these are on the clearance rack for 50% off. So we are officially sticking a fork in ready, relevant, responsive, the 3 R's. You can have this. It has been a little bit long ceremony. We planned on doing this about 90 minutes, and I was going to speak once, and then we had the wonderful addition of the President joining us, and that was very appropriate to recognize the monumental event that occurred today. So I'm going to try to figure out where the heck my thoughts were as I broke them out and ended them in a couple places, but I will try to be relatively brief. You know, it is an era of Coast Guards, but I think it really has been a bit of an era of the United States Coast Guard. And you know, our origins go back to Alexander Hamilton petitioning President George Washington for 10 cutters, and we were at authorities to go do customs duties, and iteratively we have built on this Coast Guard. We linked the life-saving service, we linked the lighthouse service, the Bureau of Steamships, you name it, bridge administration. We have built this thing called the United States Coast Guard over our 232-year history come this August that really is a unique instrument of national security. And our authorities are broad, Title 10, Title 14, Title 50, named member of the national intelligence community. We bring a different set of capabilities, a law enforcement package that the other armed forces don't. And I think that's really what has allowed us to be increasingly relevant in the high latitudes, increasingly relevant when we think about great power competition in the Indo-Pacific or in the Arctic against what we see as an increasingly difficult to understand Russia that's taken unjust actions against Ukraine. We're an organization that enables the prosperity that the Secretary and the President talked about. About 24% of the global domestic product, 30 million jobs. That is the lifeblood of our U.S. economy. And we're enabling renewable offshore energy, manned and unmanned space, you name it. The Coast Guard touches it, and it all rolls up to this thing called our Coast Guard. You know, Mike Gilday, God bless him, you know, he speaks and talks about, after Mike, I, and Dave Berger, Commandant of the Marine Corps, we signed a Tri-Service Maritime Strategy. He really very much in the form of the team player that he is and all the service chiefs are. We talk about how do we best take U.S. capabilities in the maritime domain and really stitch it together in a non-redundant fashion. But Mike has said many times in front of our coasties and others, you know, there's not a numbered fleet where there's not a Coast Guard contribution. Mike and Dave, I appreciate that partnership under our sea services. Thank you, brothers. You know, you heard the largest recap. I am going to really try to skinny this down. But cyber, you name it, there's other things. But one of the things that we have really focused on is we tried to focus on the people. And I appreciate the mention of that being the most important asset of the Coast Guard. That's not always the easiest place to find dollars. It's the shiny cutters, it's the planes, it's the boats. But I want to thank the administration, past and current. I want to thank you, Secretary, and I want to thank the Congress. Congressman Palazzo here today, Kevin Yoder, our former chairman, others. You know, really in this watch, you have helped us focus on our people. Increased access to mental health care writ large, educational benefits, child care subsidies, personnel policies to better support our dual military service couples, enhanced primary, secondary care benefits and leave, and a host of far-reaching policy changes and a tech revolution. Good chunk of money from the Congress to get after putting the mobility, the capabilities in the hands of the smartest generation of Coast Guard men and women we have ever had. And really the ability for ships to do their work at sea with underway connectivity and even some reach back where Coast Guardsmen today can reach back with their families. That's an expectation. That's not a luxury anymore. Men and women that are going to separate from their families 185 days a year, they're looking to stay leveraged to the modern technology society offers. And we've tried, as I mentioned, thickening our lines of collaboration with the department. Southwest Border Operations, Allies Watch, Afghani refugees, COVID-19 vaccines, helping FEMA. You know, Secretary, our service mission and culture is wholly aligned to that of the department as we approach our 20th anniversary next March. With honor and integrity, we will safeguard the American people, our homeland, and our values. You know, for a pretty average kid from East Hartford, Connecticut, I never envisioned the privilege of serving my nation nearly 4 decades in uniform. And that final assignment being here as the 26th Commandant. Back in '79, you know, Matt mentioned that's when our class started. I cut a deal with my dad. My dad since passed about a decade ago. He's a 4-year Air Force military policeman. But I said, Dad, I'll go try this academy thing for 2 years. It was going to be my junior college experience. And he was a high school English teacher back in the hometown. And I guess I'm that guy who can't execute a plan standing in front of you 43 years later. But it's been a great ride, and it's been a privilege. Matt talked about May 18th, '83. That's when we commissioned. My parents in the bleachers, like many of the parents here and some of the past of my classmates. We rose and raised our right hand, and I had that privilege to do that a couple short weeks ago. We swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and we subsequently received our commissions from then Vice President Bush, George Bush, Herbert Walker, good number 83ers today are here in the now air-conditioned tent. And I want to tell you, thanks for being here, shipmates. Thanks for being here. You guys have been lifelong friends. Lifelong friends. Matt mentioned the logo, and I didn't know that was coming, but Leaders for Change. We on occasion might have spun that and said Leaders for a Change, but that was when we were being a little bit snarky in our younger years. But I tell you, that's sort of been a raison d'etre for me. I've always thought back about saying, hey, you know, if the government's going to pay you and you're going to have the opportunity to lead, you better get up in the morning and go try to make a difference every day. And that's sort of the way I've conducted my life, and I just hope that's bled through. You know, in attendance today, former shipmates, former bosses. You know, I see Secretary Nielsen. Secretary Chertoff I knew, but Kirsten Nielsen was here when I took over 4 years ago and had the privilege of swearing in under her. I saw John Kelly was here. I'm not sure if General Kelly was here, but he was our secretary when I was Land Forces Commander. He was my boss at U.S. Southern Command, along with Kurt Tidd, who I know is here today. But I have been blessed to serve with great Americans that have entrusted me and empowered me to have an opportunity to lead the men and women of the Coast Guard. And I thank each and every one of you for your service. The commanding officers I served with from the earliest years, the Ed Labudas, the Bill Batsons, the Dale Chittendens, the Wayne Justice, they're represented here today. And I will not walk through that long and storied career. But I'll tell you, going to sea for me, going to sea was a great equalizer. You know, there's no place you hide on a cutter. You step up, you stand your watch, and you sort of get measured by what you do. And that was pretty linear for a kid like me from Connecticut. You know, in an organization that values command, you heard Steve mention, I was afforded the opportunity 17 years. 17 years I've had that privilege. And along that ride, you know, Dawn was there for all 17 of those, as we've been married 33. You know, certain expectations that go with being a command spouse. And I just want to tell you, Dawn, thank you for that. And Secretary, thanks for recognizing my bride's contributions here. You know, as I reflect on my service, three words I'll share with you that come to mind. Gratitude. You know, how many people are privileged or blessed to do what they love to do every day, with people wedded to a common set of values and goals for a cause bigger than themselves. And there might even be a paycheck that goes along with that. And not to mention a loving family that enables that journey. A loving family that makes tremendous sacrifices so I could do what I love to do. Well, I'm one of those lucky guys, and I am filled with gratitude. Purpose. Within the Coast Guard's multi-mission portfolio, I have always found great purpose. Redeeming social value in public service, to which I associate the positive characteristics of challenge, camaraderie, and empowerment as they contribute to the delivery of services. And third, teamwork. In my lexicon, teamwork is the collaborative effort of a group or unit to achieve a common or a shared goal, to complete a task or advance an initiative in an effective or efficient way. I've always relished being on teams, and even more so leading teams, particularly given the caliber of the men and women of the United States Coast Guard that one gets to lead. So when I think about these three words, gratitude, purpose, teamwork, they roll up and are applicable across so many of the relationships I've had in this organization. You know, I'll just look through the lens of one, but my aide right now, Lieutenant Commander Christine Igusamar, her predecessor Justin Smith's here, Betsy Tufts, Ryan Newmeyer, Josh Tucker. Boy, 3 great Americans that stood by my side and enabled my run through the flag ranks in command positions. I want to thank each of them, and Christine, thank you for being here in the final run with me. As commandant, either I was tough to work for or these guys are just fast-moving trains, but I had 3 executive assistants, Rear Admirals Mark Feeder, Mike Day, and Mike Platt. All came in as 06s, proud of each of you wearing single stars on your shoulder boards, and I'm excited to watch where your careers take you because they are going to be blazing at rocket speed. You guys had the peak professionalism, responsibility to probably take on the toughest job in the Coast Guard. So thank you each. Mike is out in Hawaii. He's not complaining. He's not even watching this live stream, and he's surfing right now. And Michael here finishing up at the end. Thank you very much. To the entire Commandant, Vice Commandant, front office team, there's not a harder working bunch. They worked every day through the global pandemic. There was a few tap outs and things and made adjustments for people at home, but the business of the Coast Guard doesn't slow down a lot at the pointy end and at the top end. And sometimes we had to squeeze the middle sections. But I want to thank each and every one of them for their definitive bias for action, their big forward thinking, and their just ability to get it done. Thank you to the front office team. And to the senior leadership team, I'll roll these up in the sake of speed. To the senior leadership team, the past 4 years. I see Charlie Ray out there. You know, the only good thing, there's so many good things about Charlie, but one of the things that Charlie helps me take some of the heat on, we're the last 2 guys at a party. I went to a couple events with Charlie. I actually left before him recently, so I said, hey, I see I'm not the last guy at all these events. Charlie Ray is. But Charlie, thanks for being my wingman. Boy, we had some fun for 3 years, and you are a great leader. Charlie continues to do great things at our Coast Guard Academy. Linda Fagan this last year, and clearly Linda's performance was a stellar Pac Area Commander, a great vice, and her position and new official titles at 27th Commandant is testament to your performance, Linda, and your potential to continue to serve at even better and higher levels. So thank you, Linda. I want to thank Vice Admirals Dan Abel and Scott Bushman, who are our Deputy Commandant Mission Support, Paul Thomas and Mike McAllister, Steve Poulin, the Land Forces Commander. Scott served at Lant. Mike was here as our Deputy Commandant for Mission Support. Our 13th Master Chief Officer Coast Guard, Jason Vanderheyden. He'd be here today, but he's dealing with a tough family situation, medical situation with his mom. But we had the privilege of retiring him a couple weeks ago, and Kate May last week, and G. Williamson, who came up with Rob Bushy. And Rob Bushy. And you add to that all the Gold Badge Master Chiefs that are assisting the 3-star flags. And I got to tell you, what a great group of leaders, senior leaders. You know, Babe Ruth, the great Bambino of the Yankees, made his debut as a Boston Red Sox, so I'm hard to believe a Sox fan is quoting the Bambino. And I might incur the curse of the Bambino again. But he noted the way a team plays as a whole determines its success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a dime. Well, I'll tell you, the senior leadership we built, and we injected some talent along the way, they have been remarkable. And they have really been the reason the brand of the Coast Guard has been burnished in these last 4 years. And I just ask you to join me in a round of applause for each and every one of them. Across each individual, they are a group of individuals that recognize that leadership is a privilege. And first and foremost, leadership is about service. You know, on Memorial Day earlier this week, just a couple days ago, I was back in East Hartford to visit my mom. Thought Mom might come down with me today, but just wasn't feeling up to it. But I was in the local parade and had the chance to deliver the keynote Memorial Day address. My father passed away 10 years ago in 2012, and really would have been enjoyed being part of this last 10 years of my Coast Guard career. Because boy, he'd show up every place we'd be at some point, try to windsurf in Key West. Vinny and I had to rescue him on his way to Cuba. I mean, you know, always a good story when Dad would visit. Didn't know I had a motorcycle. Then he got down there, I couldn't go to work. He just wanted to ride in the back of the motorcycle all the time. But being back in East Hartford really gave me a connection with my father over the weekend. You know, just about everybody I interacted with, from the community leaders, government officials, first responders, you know, they all had Leo Schultz as their teacher coach because he did that for about 37 years. And I suspect my passion, my commitment to public service really comes from my dad. And I think he'd be proud today. You know, Mom and brother joined me on Monday at that event. You know, Mom grew up in Germany, occupied Germany during the Second World War. And she's just a terrific, humble lady. My dad met her in France when he was an MP assigned there. And as I visited with Mom this weekend, we reflected on what a simple but great place it was to grow up in East Hartford, Connecticut. And I'm just appreciative of the faith, the work ethic, and the sense of gratitude that my parents instilled in my brother and I. You know, he's also a career public educator in Connecticut, and I'm just very thankful. And Dawn's family is also a Coast Guard family. We alluded to Vinny De Laurentiis, class of '85. I was very interested to see which section Vinny sat in today. He was kind of going back and forth beforehand, so as always, he definitely navigated that. And I had the privilege, as Steve mentioned, of retiring Vinny. You know, Vinny serves today as a senior executive at DHS, and he's a lifelong public service as well. And, you know, his mom, his loving wife, Joan, is here. His great kids, Ariana and Vincent, they're just great. Our kids grew up together, and we just had such a great ride together. And, you know, their parents, Vincent and Marie, were a big part of our life. You know, it was team ball. It was, you know, I was gone a lot, and Dawn was raising 5 kids. My mother-in-law, she came one summer. Dawn said she's staying through Labor Day. Columbus Day came, Thanksgiving Day, Veterans Day, Christmas, Festivus, you name it. I think Memorial Day is when she left. I said, honey, it's a nice short visit from your mother. But I'll tell you, she was awesome. And she really enabled us to get through this Coast Guard thing. You know, Dawn would load all 5 kids up to take 1 kid to a sport practice. And when Mom was there, boy, that changed the flexibility. And we are, you know, Casa Schultz was enabled by an awful lot of folks. And I just think about them. Mom was like my dad, my mother-in-law. I mean, they were the ones that really were excited about Vinny's career, and I sort of tangentially got to soak in on some of that love and support. It was a Bama football family because Dad played down there. G-Mom was a huge football fan. My kids will acknowledge this. You know, G-Mom Thursday night would sit on the couch, and you didn't touch the remote till the Sunday night NFL game was over. Kids would go up and they're like, Dad, can we watch anything but football? I said, try to get the remote. And Grandma would be sleeping. She goes, I'm watching football. Dangerous move in the Schultz house. But I really appreciate the support we've had. To my gang, Team Schultz. Dawn and I have been together 36 years, 33 a blissful marriage this September. 13, 14 moves together, I'm not sure. But I'll tell you, happiness truly is being married to your best friend. And if you get one thing right, that's it. Together we have 5 wonderful kids. Together probably cedes way too much credit to me, particularly this past decade. Dawn's team is the life coach for Team Schultz. She's there for everyone all the time. The most selfless, caring person I know who shuns the limelight while bolstering others' sense of purpose and accomplishment. And you heard highly educated, I won't repeat that, but Secretary Mayorkas, thanks for recognizing my bride. And in that, you recognize all our Coast Guard families and our military families across the Joint Force. You know, we've been a team for these many, many years. Sweetheart, you are the love of my life. I look forward to starting the next chapter of our lives together. You know, there's a placard on our bedroom dresser that really, I think, captures Dawn's perspective. It says, life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but the moments that take our breath away. So I've got some breathtaking moments to create in the coming years, honey, but I am very much excited about being around more, and I just ask you to give me a chance of that. You know, today, the conclusion of today's ceremony, my wife gets nervous. Either I tell a joke that's not right or something. No jokes today. But I picked a song. 1979, we are the MTV class. August 1981, radio killed the video. Video killed the radio song. First song. We were MTV addicts. But back in '79, Holland wrote a song called Wait For Me. And unbeknownst to Dawn, I selected that, and that may play if the technology's right at the end here. But while Dawn's been all in all the time with me, she's also been waiting for me to be a bigger part of us. And I'm ready to do that. And lastly, to my children, the twins, Kelsey and Lindsay, you heard, an optometrist, a teacher. Annalise is a grad student, wanted to be she wants to do art therapy and work with a wide range of folks that have some special challenges in life. Zach is a rising business major at Virginia Tech. And, you know, funny Zach story is I'm sitting there doing some work on my kitchen table. That's my home office. And Dawn's in the living room talking to Zach, and the speaker's on it. And she goes, Zach, what do you mean you're changing your major to consultant? She goes, you know, your dad's been in the Coast Guard 39 years. He might be a consultant. He goes, you don't have the experience. I think he needs to be. He says, Mom, that's not how it works anymore. So my son, Zach, I don't worry about Zach, because Zach's got it all figured out. We tease sometime in the Schultz house, had Zach been first, he might have been an only child. And then all the rules are broken. But Zach, I am proud of you, big guy, just like I am of your sisters. And I'm proud of that young ensign that's standing the watch out there. He really is on his own ship. He didn't volunteer for duty not to be here. And just gang, you guys, you know, you didn't sign up for this. A lot of moves. Zach, Eric, Annalise, 3 high schools, 4 years, the twins 2. We couldn't be any prouder of you guys. And thanks for going along for this long ride called the United States Coast Guard. We love you guys. And I also like to note my gratitude and support, really, as I mentioned before, to the families, to the Coast Guard. There's a couple of groups that I'd be remiss in not mentioning. These past years with a lot of challenges, hurricane seasons, Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. That's our organization that helps our own, the Coast Guard Foundation. That's an outside philanthropy group. But boy, have they done some remarkable things. When you can't bring federal assistance to 1,600 displaced families down in the Gulf Coast of Mexico, or Gulf Coast, boy, put the Chiefs Petty Officer Association in touch with the Coast Guard Foundation, and there are checks in hands before the first response vehicle breaks into the communities. They are remarkable. They are truly remarkable. So bringing it over the goal line, the culinary specialists have an incredible spread for you out there. I can't promise you that it may not be somewhere around 110 degrees. You can bring your food back in here. But here we are, 39 years from commissioning. Truly honored to have served such a long and rewarding career in an organization that each and every day, I wake up excited. I wake up energized. I go out the door hoping we can just make a small difference and make this world's best Coast Guard just a little bit greater. So as Memorial Day just passed, and we have some Gold Star families here with us. John Kelly, I think John Garrett's here today, there may be others. You know, you are the most special families we hold as nations. I think about Memorial Day on Monday. I leave you with a quote by an American poet, R.J. Heller. He writes, "In the aftermath, we are because they wore." I'd like to thank my own Coast Guard family, as well as all Coast Guard families, for your continuous support of our service. I'd like to thank my classmates, my shipmates, my many supervisors, bosses, and mentors who helped me stay in the proverbial ship channel all these years. And I'd like to thank all those who have gone before us in service. This past weekend just reminds us how significant that is. We get to serve. We get to do our chosen professions, live our chosen lives because they wore. This average kid from East Hartford got to live an extraordinarily rewarding professional life as an armed services officer. And I'd like to thank our Coast Guard men and women for that privilege. Our people who remain united in service through a shared commitment and an eagerness to serve, so that America's Coast Guard will be always ready, semper paratus, to meet the many challenges confronting our nation today and tomorrow. Thank you. God bless the United States of America. God bless our United States Coast Guard. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Schultz. Now, Ensign Eric Schultz will read the watch. As we heard, Ensign Schultz is unable to join us here today because he's underway on Coast Guard Cutter Dependable, but his previously recorded reading will now be played.
For over 39 years, this Coast Guardsman has stood the watch. While some of us were in our racks at night, this Coast Guardsman stood the watch. Some of us were in school learning our trade. This shipmate stood the watch. Yes, even before some of us were born into this world, he stood the watch. In those years when the storm clouds of war were seen brewing on the horizon of history, this shipmate stood the watch. Many times he would cast an eye ashore and see his family standing there, needing him for guidance and help, needing the hand to hold during those hard times, but he still stood the watch. He stood the watch more than 39 years. He stood the watch so that we, our family, and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly in safety each and every night, knowing that this Coast Guardsman stood the watch. Today we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you have led, guided, and trained. Admiral Schultz, you stand relieved. We have the watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the delivery of the benediction and the playing of Semper Paratus and the departure of the official party. Military members, please put your covers on. Chaplain Walcott will now give the benediction.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Let us pray. Eternal Father, as we conclude this ceremony and celebration, we turn once again to you. For some, responsibilities have shifted, titles have changed, but for all of us, what remains is a calling to serve our families, our neighbors, our Coast Guard, our country, and our world. In that service, may we all strive through your strength to truly be women and men of honor, respect, and devotion to duty in all that we do. Eternal Father, Lord of hosts, watch over all who guard our coast. Protect them from the raging seas and give them light, give them life, give them peace. Grant them, we pray, from your great throne above, the shield and shelter of your love. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Walcott. Now, Homeland Security departing. Now, Coast Guard departing. Now, Vice Commandant departing. Now, Admiral, United States Coast Guard, retired, departing. Hand salute.